Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, Inside My Holes, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own experiences and struggles having borderline personality disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and panic attacks, depression. I talk about my narcissistic mother who brutally abused me and beat me up as a child. I talk about my schizophrenic father who is in and out of mental institutions. I talk about my unethical psychologists that rape me and all the different types of therapy I've been in, and just a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot give you a professional opinion or diagnose you. All I ask in return of you is your kindness and respect in the comments. Please be kind to me, be kind to other people who comment. We don't need to agree on everything, but we do need to agree on showing each other respect and kindness. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button there on the lower right hand corner so you'll be notified every time a new video of mine comes up. And it's 100% free, so if you like what you see, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Today's video is how I used being a sex worker to dissociate, okay? I was a sex worker. I had an OnlyFans. I did pornography during the height of COVID, from 2020 to about I'm guessing 2021. I don't think I did it in 22. No, I think I haven't done it in like 3 years. So I think I only did it like for a year and a half, something like that. There was lots of reasons I did sex work, and I turned to alcohol too. I was re-traumatized when I was raped by my psychologist. I did videos about the details of that, and I've written books, and the links are below, about the graphic details of that. So I'm not going to get into how I was re-traumatized by my psychologist in this video. I dissociated. What dissociating is just like I was out of touch with my feelings. And like alcohol numbed me. Alcohol numbed my feelings. So during the day I would use pornography to dissociate, to be out of touch with how I really felt, re-traumatized and victimized, and then in the evening I would use alcohol to numb myself from those feelings. So because the feelings were so overwhelming, I had no control, no way to handle or get a grip on my feelings, because at this time too, my son was brutally beaten and tortured, and I couldn't see my son, which was horrific because of COVID. Because of COVID, no one was allowed to go to visit anyone. Everyone had to stay locked in place during COVID. You guys know because you've been through COVID, right? Everyone had to stay locked in place, so you couldn't visit your family, you couldn't visit your friends, you had to stay in your home. You couldn't, the only time you could go out was to go grocery shopping, and there was a long line to get in the grocery stores, and you had to wear a mask, and they would only let a certain amount of people in the grocery stores at a time. I don't know what the number counts, but that was the only time you could leave the house, is to go grocery shopping. So I couldn't go to my son's residence. He was severely handicapped because I mentioned him in other videos in detail. He got pneumococcal meningitis at the age of 4, and he became an invalid. So I don't want to go into detail about what happened to him, because that's in my other videos, but he was in a residential home with other severely handicapped people just like him. So I couldn't see him, he couldn't come home, I couldn't visit him because it was a height of COVID. As a result, one of the staff workers there brutally beat him, tortured him, and it was horrific. It was just, the police were involved, I got a lawyer, lawyers were involved, it was a mess. It's still in the court system what happened. So my son I couldn't be with, and I had no idea that he was being, tortured, because I couldn't see him. I didn't find out later that he was tortured. I was shut off from my son completely because it was COVID. I was shut off from everyone. Everyone was shut off from everyone else. You couldn't see your friends. You couldn't see your family. You couldn't see your children. It was a lockdown, a complete lockdown. So I couldn't deal with, what was going on with my son. I couldn't deal with being raped from my psychologist. So I numbed my feelings. I numbed my feelings with alcohol. I drank vodka, 4 or 5 drinks every night, and I turned to pornography as a way to dissociate, as a way to not feel anything. When I've mentioned in other videos how much I hated doing the pornography, but at that time my husband lost his job too. Everything fell apart, really, and we very much needed the money, and there was no jobs because no one was hiring. It was COVID. You had to stay in the house. There was really no jobs to be had, and we had no money. We couldn't afford the bills. We couldn't afford to heat the home. It was during winter, so we had to put the oven on and stay in the kitchen to keep warm. It was just horrible, There was no income coming in. There was no money. We couldn't get welfare, because we didn't have any dependent children. We couldn't get help from the government. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And there was no income because my husband, was out of work. So I started doing pornography and stealing. I started doing pornography. I started drinking excessively. I turned into an alcoholic over being raped by my psychologists, plural. And I was just a friggin' mess. And I didn't want to deal with my feelings. And so I didn't deal with my feelings. I got dressed up in wigs. I had all these different types of wigs. I had black wigs, red-haired wigs, blonde wigs, purple wigs, blue-haired wigs, green wigs, long-haired wigs, short-haired wigs, straight, curly, afro. And I made myself into someone else. I was like a little actress. It was like a little play. I made myself into another person so I wouldn't be me with all my problems. I was someone else. I dressed in Victoria's Secret's lacy teddies and thongs and spiked stilettos, like maybe 6-inch heels, studded cobalt blue spiked stilettos, and I was doing all these horrific things, masturbating with bottles, beer bottles. I mean, I cut myself up internally. I was bleeding. Just really horrific things I was doing just to, I was just, so because I could not live, I could not function in the world that was my life. I knew what was going on with my son, but I was, defenseless to help him. Because it was a lockdown, I couldn't go to my son. I could not go to him. And I just was all alone. It was just one of the lowest, it was the lowest period of, one of the lowest periods of my life. And I was completely shattered. Now, the one thing about sex workers, I have watched other videos that talk about this. Like 90% of sex workers have been sexually abused. They've been through a trauma background. They often have personality disorders, like I do, borderline personality disorder. That's me. And I was sexually abused by my psychologist. And they don't go into this work because they're mentally healthy. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. You can disagree with me, but I've looked up the literature. I watched other videos. I read the literature on it, and it's out there. It's a fact that most people who go into sex work, either OnlyFans, or that's a sex worker, or prostitution. Any of these sex working jobs is because they're dissociating from their trauma. It's a trauma response. Dissociation is a trauma response. Just like drug addiction, alcoholism is a trauma response. Having borderline personality disorder is a trauma response from my horrific childhood. Watch the other videos. Watch the one about why I was glad my mom died. I mean, I go into graphic detail about the severe abuse in my other videos. So it was the lowest of the lows at this time. And my psychologist, Dr. Richard Geis, turned his back completely on me. And I had no one. My best friend turned her back completely on me. She did. I tried to get together with her over and over and over again. Every time we made plans, she canceled. I don't mean once or twice. I mean every single time. So I lost my psychologist. I lost my best friend. My son was being beaten and tormented, and I couldn't see him because it was lockdown. My husband was out of work. He didn't have any money, and OnlyFans was out there. It was just like I'm doing now. It was on my phone. I didn't need special equipment to do the OnlyFans. All I needed was what I have right now here doing my YouTube videos. I just needed a tripod, which was dirt cheap. What is it, $15? And my cell phone, and that's it. I'm good to go. And I load it up and put it out there, and men pay me money to see I'm selling a product. I put out 10-minute, 15-minute, not even 15 minutes, maybe 12-minute videos of me totally naked, masturbating, using all different sex toys and all different, even, I got kicked out of OnlyFans because these perverted sicko men wanted me to use beer bottles and sticks and all these other things. And OnlyFans said you can only use a penis or a dildo, vibrator. You cannot use anything else. And since I use other things, I saw, and I got the ideas too because I saw other models use other things too. That's how I got the idea. I saw other models doing it, and they were making hundreds and hundreds of dollars a week, big money. And we needed the money. So I said, maybe if I do these risque, things that these perverted sicko men want, I didn't want to do it. I just hated myself. I was cutting myself up internally. I was very sick from this. When I mean I was very sick, I was making myself bleed internally from using these objects. And, I almost had to be hospitalized. It was horrible. I got so sick I couldn't walk. I was bleeding heavy. I couldn't get off the couch. I couldn't walk. I was up all night in severe pain. It was just like a nightmare. It was a living friggin' nightmare, my life. It was a nightmare. And I did this all during the day because I was locked down in the house. And in the evening, I drank myself into oblivion with vodka because I hated myself. I hated my life. I hated what I was doing. I know I was dissociating. I was just, playing roles, putting on wigs, wearing all this different makeup. I'd have blue lipstick, a blue wig, blue eyeshadow, and then I would just do this, and it was the lowest of lows of my life. I'm not proud when I come on here and tell you what I did. I would never ever do it again. I would never recommend it for anyone to go into sex work. It's very low. It's very degrading. The men treat you like a slab of meat. They really do. They treat you like dirt. They treat you like a slab of meat. Like they're going to the market and they're buying like a slab of meat. It's disgusting the way they treat me. And I had to put on an act. And I just, like I said, I made myself physically sick as well as mentally sick. I physically made myself, I cut myself up, and I was in bad shape. I said I was almost hospitalized. I was in that bad shape from what I was doing. And also, OnlyFans, the ironic thing is, these people thought that I quit OnlyFans, but I was kicked out of OnlyFans because their rules was you can't use those inanimate objects except a dildo and a vibrator. You can't use them. And I did. So I broke their rules, and I was kicked out. And I told people this, and they didn't believe me, but that's the way it ended. They said, oh, make another account, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to do it anyway. I wanted to get out of it. And since they already kicked me out and I was already out of it, I didn't want to get back into it. Eventually, my husband got a good job. Eventually, COVID ended, and I got to see my son, and I got him in another place that treats him with respect, that's much closer to my house. I went to the licensing board over the 2 psychologists that raped me, Dr. James Barbaria, Dr. Richard Geis, who sexually molested me, and I talked about this in other videos, and so I brought them to the licensing board. I stopped seeing therapists altogether. I quit therapy. I stopped drinking vodka. I started only drinking 2 glasses of wine. Instead of doing porno videos, I started doing karaoke videos, and then I went from there to doing mental health videos and starting to really talk about all the horrific things that happened to me, to let other people in on the inner making of me, and so people won't feel alone. A lot of people think like that they're the only ones that dissociate, or who are sex workers, who hate it and hate themselves, who hurt themselves, who harm themselves. I have borderline personality disorder. Like, you're not alone, all right? That's why I do this mental health channel. I want people to feel like, hey, there's someone out there who suffered like me, who went through the things like I did and came out the other end of it. And now I am like out the other end of it. I'm not stealing anymore. I'm not doing pornography anymore. I stopped associating with all people. I don't see therapists. I don't have girl pals that walk all over me and use me. So I'm trying to, do a mental health channel to help people, to inform the public. and that's been going good. After 4 years, I'm finally monetized, and I'm not earning much money, but I'm hoping to grow my channel. I really am. But I need your help. Can you help me? All you have to do is subscribe and watch. I need your help to grow my channel, and I want to get the word out there, and I want to continue this channel. I put out videos every day. So I wanted to share that with you, and I hope that I didn't offend anyone, and I hope I didn't scare anyone off. I'll be able to tell. I look at my analytics and see how many people joined my channel from a video, or how many people dropped out of my my channel from a video. It'll say, like, if people watched a video and they didn't like it and they dropped out, they unsubscribed, it'll say like -2 if 2 people did. Some videos, 10 people subscribed because of that video. They watched my video and they said, I really like this channel, and they subscribed. It'll say like plus for the number of people who subscribed over a video, or negative the people who unsubscribed because they hated the video. I don't really unsubscribe from people just because I don't like 1 or 2 of their videos, You're not going to like every single video a person does. That would be impossible, But if I kept watching video after video after video and I didn't like it, then I would probably say, okay, I'm going to unsubscribe because lately this person isn't putting out anything that I'm enjoying. But anyway, there you have it. I hope you comment. I love the people who comment. I love when you share what's going on with you. I love when we have an open and ongoing dialogue. And again, I hope I didn't scare anyone off in this